All right, welcome back, everyone. We're set for game two of this best of three between Started from the Bottom and the Business Gaming. We just saw Started from the Bottom pretty much walk all over the Business Gaming in game one, but certainly don't count the Business Gaming out of this, as they finished 4-2 on the season, so they definitely proved that they could hang with the best of them. They did lose their 2 games to Boreal, but both those games went at least 40 minutes, and they were pretty close. So the Business Gaming definitely, they can play with these guys, and they're going to look to maybe put themselves in a little bit of a better situation coming out of the early laning phase. But if you're new and just joining us, first of all, welcome to NizCast. I'm going to be your host, Niz, but you're also watching the Saturday Dota League. We're in the playoffs. This is the first week, and we're watching a winner's bracket match between, Started from the Bottom and the Business Gaming. We are going to have another winner's bracket match coming up a little bit later tonight. That's going to be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be between Boreal Esports and UTD Savants. So definitely stick around for that one. But we do have this one to get squared away first. But let's try and catch up in our draft so far. We got Undying and Gyro banned out by Started from the Bottom. So not only do they banned out some would call it overpowered, I would call it overrated zombie. But then they also ban out one of the strong counters to him as well in the Gyrocopter. But then Queen of Pain and Leshrac getting banned out by the Business Gaming. So
10 seconds remaining.
Typically really strong...
5 seconds remaining.
Losing the word here for it, but high impact heroes. Especially in the mid game, they really try to set the pace. Park them in the mid lane, they do well in the lane, and then as soon as they come out of that laning phase, they just turn it up. And they just walk around killing people, they're pushing towers, they're doing all that. They're setting the pace of the game, high impact heroes, and both those are going to get banned out by the Business Gaming. So maybe that's the Business Gaming trying to slow the game down a little bit, realizing that, I don't know, maybe they started from the bottom. Once they got the ball rolling, it was maybe a little bit too much for the Business Gaming. They wanted to play a little bit more their own pace, and well, sometimes you got to ban to reflect that. But maybe that's just part of their standard opening. I don't know. Just trying to read into it, right? But we've got Witch Doctor as their first pick, which, well, you don't see that all too often. Started from the bottom. They opened with Clockwork and Dazzle, and that's a little bit more familiar.
Reserve time.
But now, what is the Business Gaming going to do with their second pick? I have a feeling they're still going to disguise it quite a bit. What did they open with last game? Ooh, Bristleback. Forget about what they did last game. We've got a Bristleback here, and this is good. This means, you know what? If you want to try and fight us in the mid game, we are going to have a hero like Bristleback that loves to fight then. There was one thing, I was actually listening to some of the EU qualifiers for TI a little bit earlier, and they were talking about Bristleback and said that, you know what, he's one of those heroes that 10-15 minutes he doesn't like to fight. He can fight, but he doesn't like to fight. And that's exactly why this hero is going to be great for the Business Gaming. He can fight at that moment, but if there isn't fighting, that 10 to 15 minutes, he's going to use that to get his core set of items going, and then he's going to be even stronger from that 15-minute mark on. But, of course, if Started from the bottom, they start to bring that aggression. They're trying to take down those towers and are really trying to fight. The Business Gaming will have that Bristleback, which will be that big tanky presence early on in the game. And it will hurt him a little bit going forward because he won't be able to get that little 5 minutes of farm that he needs to really get the ball rolling. But it'll put them in a much better place overall to distribute their farm where they want. As typically, Bristleback is going to be run in the off lane. He is a position 3, so he isn't the highest in terms of how you want to distribute your net worth, but he's definitely not the lowest either. He's kind of in that mid ground, and as long as the fights are going well, he will be able to hit that core set of items that he needs.
Reserve time.
But we've got a lot of bans coming out here. As Lena and Phantom Lance are getting banned out from Started from the bottom, and then there comes that Invoker. I was waiting for it. Business Gaming banning out the Invoker. They said, you know what, JJ's Invoker was absolutely insane last game. We're just getting rid of that. We don't want to deal with it. And they're also going to ban out a Shadow Demon. And Shadow Demon, he's interesting in this situation. He is a defensive support, but he can also be played quite aggressively. He's typically not that strong against Bristleback. I mean, anything that's going to slow down Bristleback and allow you to kite him is going to be good, but it's not the best. You typically want something that's actually going to be able to stop him from constantly spraying out his quills. Shadow Demon doesn't really do that. It kind of does that with the Banish or Disrupt or whatever it's called, his first ability. But yeah, it's not ideal. But what it does is it actually pairs incredibly well with the Dazzle. And this is a little bit kind of unintuitive, or it kind of, a lot of people overlook it. And once again, I always go back to how, like, my most recent team, right before I kind of stopped playing and transitioned into casting. And Mr. Sizzo in chat just talking about Indy. Where the hell is he with the stats? He's got a job now. He's not even playing Dota. What's going on? I know. But go back to when I played with him, and I would be playing the Shadow Demon and he would be playing the Dazzle. This was actually one of our strongest support duos. And we'd actually play it pretty offensively. We'd pair it with a Centaur.
10 seconds
And back then,
remaining.
Centaur was played largely in the off lane. But we'd take that
5
Centaur
seconds remaining.
and trick teams in the draft. We'd pick up a Shadow Fiend for mid, but we'd take that Centaur. Instead of putting him in the
Reserve
off
time.
lane, we'd put him safe lane. And our tri-lane was so strong because Shadow Demon steps up, he gets the Banish off. Then once you've got a hero like Centaur, your carry that can tie that hero down, they're able to follow up as soon as that Banish finishes. And as soon as the Banish finishes, it creates those two illusions. The Shadow Demon goes and stands on top, the Dazzle stands on top, the Heal Bomb comes out from the Dazzle, and suddenly that hero's lost half of his HP from just the Shadow Demon and the Dazzle. And then you've got that the CC coming out from the Centaur, and the right clicks just finish it all off. So very, very strong. We're not going to see it here, but it's one of those combos that initially, when you think of, not that strong, but when you actually put it into practice, very, very strong. And we're going to see Ancient
Radiant
Apparition
team pick.
instead getting picked up to go with the Dazzle. AA, one of those heroes that's actually really strong against the Dazzle, but now they're actually going to pick it up here. And they didn't pick it up because it was a block. We already see the two supports getting picked up for the business gaming, the Witch Doctor and Eventual Spirit. But it is going to allow them to do a lot of damage, especially Ancient Apparition with Clockwork. Clockwork hook shots in, gets the cogs down,
10
traps a
seconds
hero in place.
remaining.
Then AA is able to use the Cold Feet, his first ability,
5 seconds
which will
remaining.
get that guaranteed disable, the freeze, and also that extra damage on the Clockwork,
Dire
which is going to be
team
huge. And then he can also lay down the Ice Vortex, which means the Clockwork Battery Assault, which does do magic damage, doing more damage. So that's very strong. It also allows the Shadow Demon, the Dazzle, and to some extent the
Radiant
Clockwork, to
team
do more
back.
damage through their right clicks. And AA can also have that global presence as the Clockwork's moving around, hook shotting on targets. The AA can be across the map farming up and throw his Ice Blast. Now we're going to see a Darkseer get picked
team
up, and I'll get into that one in a second, because we have two potential offlaners here for the business gaming, so I'll have to explain that. We've got Storm Spirit and Slark getting banned out.
Naga Siren.
And now Naga, oh
Radiant
boy.
team pick.
Oh boy, we're going to see an Octarine Core Naga Siren probably from Star from the Bottom. Very, very strong. We haven't seen it yet in any of my casts, but we're going to see how powerful it can be, or maybe we won't see an Octarine Core, but I have a feeling that we will. But the business gaming, like I said, two traditional offlaners, which means Bristleback, he's not going to be an offlaner. They could put the Darkseer in the mid, it's not going to
10
happen.
seconds
Bristleback's
remaining.
going to be running the safe lane, or in the tri-lane, I should say. And
5
the
seconds
Darkseer
remaining.
has been picked up because it's going to do very, very well against the Clockwork. So they've got a huge advantage there. Now they're going to pick up the Dragon Knight, put him mid against the Shadow Fiend, hero that has a lot of health regen and can deal with the spam coming out from the Shadow Fiend, can also kind of step up and get those last hits, and also with the change to Breath of Fire is able to reduce some of that damage from the Shadow Fiend so he can kind of compete when it comes to last hits and forces the Shadow Fiend to use his raises a little bit more. So we got an interesting setup so far. Oh man, Mr. Sizzo doing all right. Doing all right with his predictions so far in the chat, and then of course he predicted Tinker for the business gaming, so that didn't happen. But he's getting better. He's getting better. If you guys haven't been listening to me for too
10
long, but
seconds
Mr.
remaining.
Sizzo He's been around for a long, long time, and he's famous
5
for his
seconds remaining.
predictions pretty much never being right in the draft. So he predicted Tinker and then Earthshaker, and we saw Dragon Knight and Naga. So a little bit off, but we'll give it to him because he got the stuff before it
Prepare
right.
for battle.
But we'll introduce our teams and our players here as we've got on the Radiant side the Business Gaming. They're down 1 game in this best of 3, so they need to win this one or they're going to be dropping down to the loser's bracket. But we've got Quilly who's going to be playing the Bristleback. Bella is going to be on the Witch Doctor. Z-Rock is going to be playing the Darkster. Interesting tradition changes here. Seuss, man, I almost got it wrong. I apologize, Roga. Seuss is going to be playing the Dragon Knight, and Jing is going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit. On our Dire side, it started from the bottom. Archer, once again, going to be on that Clockwork. He did really well in the lane. Coming out of the lane, he was kind of off and on, but he got the job done. So he's going to be playing the Clockwork once again. WWD is going to be on the Shadow Fiend. Squee is going to be on the Dazzle.
30 seconds
Shinji
to
is going to be
battle.
on the Ancient Apparition. And JJ, who had a standout game on the Invoker last game, is going to be playing the Naga Siren. Z-Rock has a Soul Ring recipe. He's going to be going to rush for that. But notice what lane the Darkseer's in. He's all the way in the bottom lane. That means they're going aggro. They're looking for that Darkseer versus Clockwork matchup. And oh, that was maybe a little bit of a mistake. Z-Rock walking there. You can actually see the hero there from the
battle
bottom tier 1
begins.
tower. And it got pinged out immediately from Archer. So they knew that the Darkseer was there, which means start from the bottom, which they already knew from one of these observer wards that the Business Gaming was already up here. But still, it gives them that little extra bit of information if they choose to rotate away from the bottom lane and try and maybe dodge the tri-lane, put their tri-lane aggressively to dodge the aggressive tri-lane from the Business Gaming. They would have had the opportunity to do that because they saw that Darkseer down here. We've got a lot of damage being exchanged here. I don't think we are going to see a kill, but JJ is going to take quite a bit. He did start with 8 Tango, so it's not the biggest thing in the world. Squee took a lot of damage as well, but both of them will get away safely. But let's quickly look at our lanes. It is going to be that Clock versus Darkseer in the bottom lane, Dragon Knight versus Shadow Fiend in the mid, and then this aggro tri-lane, Bristleback, Vengeful Spirit, and Witch Doctor going up against the Naga, Ancient Apparition, and the Dazzle. So this is actually going to be big for the Business Gaming. It's all about kind of preventing this farm from the Naga Siren, which, you know what? They didn't know that going in, that it was going to be a Naga Siren, but it definitely, they knew that they were going to go aggressive because they wanted to get the farm on the Bristleback. They wanted to start setting the pace of the game right from the get-go, and they wanted to prevent the safe lane carry from Start from the Bottom to getting a good start. But Start from the Bottom, they pick this Naga. They say, you know what? Our heroes probably... oh gosh, the chat from the draft. Casting on a delay is always fun. They pick this Naga because they know that it's going to get a limited farm coming into the lane. But then they're going to go from there. And they're going to say, you know what? The Naga can easily come back into this game. And once we just get the Octarine core up on the Naga, that's it. Game's over. Not completely, but then the Naga is just going to be too much for the Business Gaming to handle. And it's almost the complete opposite of what we saw last game. It started from the bottom. They started off slow. Then they got the ball rolling and they fought. What we're going to see this game is, once again, a little bit of a slow start from the bottom. But then they're going to still kind of sit back. They're not going to be super aggressive. And they're going to say, you know what, the Business Gaming, you guys come and fight us. You've got a hero like a Bristleback. You've got a Darkseer. Your hardest carry is either the Dragon Knight or the Bristleback. You have to fight. You have to come end the game. And that's going to be almost impossible going up against a Naga Siren. Assuming the Naga is able to get that core set of items up so that she can do the split pushing that we all know and I was going to say love, but we definitely don't love the split push from Naga or the turtling and split push from the Tinker. Maybe you do, but I don't know, maybe that makes you a little bit weird. But we're going to see a little bit of an engage here, but good position there from WWD, positioning himself down here, realizing that any rotation coming in to gank from the top lane, he knew that the top tri-lane was missing, so he positioned himself down in the lane so that it would be a really long engage, and he'd have a lot of room to escape down this way, have the protection of his tower. Good positioning there from WWD, realizing that that tri-lane was missing, but also good good communication from this tri-lane. You constantly, whenever you're in a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario, and a lot of new teams struggle with this, is you have to get in tune with not only working together as the three of you, but also getting in contact with your mid hero and making sure that you're on the same page. Because if your mid hero goes down, that is absolutely devastating for you, because you're just kind of sitting up here doing nothing, and if there's a rotation and you don't notice it, or you don't communicate that well enough to your mid's going to go down, and it's a situation that shouldn't happen. Well, Archer's going to go for this bottom lane, and actually, as soon as I look away from the tri-lane, I got to look back up here. So we got a stun out on Squee, and he will get the Shallow Grave off. Will they be able to finish him off? I don't think so. Shallow Grave's going to be enough. Shenji there with the Ice Vortex and some right clicks, and Business Gaming will have to respect it. So no first blood just yet, but I want to take our eye back to the bottom lane, see how it's going so far. Z-Rock at 18-0 on this Darkseer, 14-2 on the Clockwork. How is Archer managing to stay with this Darkseer? Obviously Darkseer slightly ahead, but my goodness, Archer. That's impressive stuff. These are two heroes that I play a lot of, and Darkseer should be demolishing this lane, but you know what? Like, it's pretty simple how to play the Darkseer in this setup, so you have to put it all on Archer. Archer just playing really, really well. We saw him play really well last game and outplay Z-Rock a few times. My goodness. Take our look at the mid lane, and well, Dragon Knight not doing as well as we want to expect. Asus, he's sitting at 16-1 right now, and as soon as I look away, it's up in the top lane who's got first blood. The Vengeful Spirit getting the first blood on the Ancient Apparition, so the Business Gaming off to a good start, but coming back to the mid lane, we got 16-1 on the Dragon Knight, whereas the Shadow Fiend running away with this one, 32-13. The only one close to him is the Darkseer at 20-0, and that's a quitty. That's a quitty. That's a pretty big difference between those two top farmers. But the more important lane, the top lane, Quilly 14-2, 17-4 on JJ. Pretty close. Pretty close. And now WWD falling back to that standard camp that Shadow Fiends always want to farm up. And Jing, he was there. They knew they wanted to go on the Shadow Fiend, and Jing gets revealed by the courier, but too late for WWD to really react, as the Dragon Knight have been pushing up through the mid lane. And now will they be able to bring down WWD? No, because Squee is there making a good rotation in response to the aggression coming up from the Business Gaming, and instead they're able to turn around and get a kill. And while that's going on, the top lane, JJ and Shinji are able to get a kill onto Quilly. The Business Gaming, they're doing the right stuff. They really are, but it's almost like it's the same thing as the first game. Start from the bottom, they just have an answer for it. Every time they've got an answer. Now Z-Rock, he knows that Archer rotated away from bottom. He's going to go check bottom rune, but I mean, it's just past 6 minutes. Archer most likely would have been rotating there, especially when he started with a bottle. Will he be able to get the Cogs block off on Z-Rock? He's going to stop to Ion Shell the creeps. Does he have enough mana? No, he doesn't. Now he does. Yeah, so he's going to be good. He even charges, takes one sip of the bottle as well, and WWD has more than enough damage on him to get a kill there. So good setup there from Archer with that invis.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And I think with WWD coming down to that bottom lane, maybe Z-Rock should have been able to read into that. It's one of those easy things to read into when you're observing or you're spectating a game. But in hindsight, it kind of made sense, right? The Clockwork rotated away from the bottom lane, went and picked up that rune, and then you go there, the rune's missing. So Clockwork has a rune, he's going somewhere. Why would WWD not come back to the mid lane, instead go down to the bottom lane? It's because the Clockwork's down there setting something up, right? It makes sense now, but it's hard to think of in the moment. But we've got a kill for the Business Gaming in the top lane as Quilly's got one on Shinji. They're going to try to get another here as they're going to dive the tower, go after JJ, but there comes the first of probably many Song of the Sirens coming out from the Naga. And that'll just disengage it. But what's important here is that That's a really long cooldown early on for a Naga Siren. And if you can force that out, it's really, really good. It's almost like, if you think back to when Wraith King was played as a carry, if you can force out that reincarnate early on, the level 1 reincarnate, that means he's very, very vulnerable until it's back up off cooldown. So you can play a lot more, you can go for those kills. He has to play a lot more defensive in his positioning and defensive in his farming, which means he's not farming as aggressively or as fast as he'd like to. So it doesn't look like anything happened there because it was just a sleep and a disengage, but effectively you have slowed the Naga down a little bit. But obviously the end goal is to now get a kill while that Song of the Siren is on cooldown. We've got, with Z-Rock up here, this is actually going to be huge. If they're able to get on a hero with Quilly, because Quilly's been doing alright so far, but Z-Rock gives him the Ion Shell. If he's able to get on a hero, oh my goodness, the amount of damage that's going to be able to come out. And now we've got WWD, who's kind of parking himself in the bottom lane. Archer's going to engage from the side, hookshot, Cogs, WWD is going to be able to finish him off. And expect WWD to stay down here in the bottom lane, Archer to be moving around. And that's allowed them to put Shinji in the mid lane. This is an Ancient Apparition. He's going to get that level 6 up, which means Ice Blast, that more global presence to pair with. Archer, who's going to be moving around. But also, it's going to get him closer and closer to his Aghanim Scepter, which is always huge. And it's going to be great going up against heroes like a Bristleback.
Boom, there it goes.
And it'll also negate things like the mech that are probably going to be coming up from Z-Rock, although we don't see him with any of the components just yet. But it's a pretty standard item for a Darkseer to pick up. But it certainly will also negate this Voodoo Restoration from the Witch Doctor. Well, we lost the bottom tier 1 tower, and now we're going to lose the top tier 1 tower. So teams trading towers right there. Lots of pings coming out. There's JJ pinging out that they're probably backing away. And maybe... he was communicating with Squee that we need a ward here so that I can farm up further in the lane. And Squee was trying to get there, but this top tri lane, they were hanging around, so it'd be a little bit too dangerous for Squee to step out there.
Dazzle.
Like I said, WWD, this bottom lane's going to be his new home, and look at how pushed up he is. And the reason he can do this is because they know that all these heroes are up here in the top lane. No, one of them has rotated away. It's going to be Jing as he's helping the Dragon Knight bring down a stack, but that allows WWD to push up so far. He knows, hey, Quilly's down here, that's all I have to worry about. Bristleback can't really kill me at this point in the game, especially a Bristleback that hasn't put a point into Viscous Nasal Goo yet either. So if he doesn't have the Snot, he has no way of slowing me down. He basically has no way of killing me on the Shadow Fiend. My goodness, we almost have a mech finished by WWD, and we're actually going to switch over to our net worth, and we can see, holy crap, look at the difference! 6k on WWD? Then the next is actually on his team, the Naga, 3850. Holy crap, that's huge! WWD running away with this one on the Shadow Fiend.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And you know what? He did well in the laning phase. He actually dominated this Dragon Knight. At the same time, Archer making those 2 rotations to the bottom lane, getting those kills, were huge as well. They not only got WWD more gold, but it also created so much space for him. And a lot of space is actually created just by them picking up this Naga Siren. Because they pick up the Naga Siren and all of a sudden... Jing, stunning, but didn't realize it was an illusion, or maybe just covering for the fact. And now Archer's going to hook shot in. And Quilly should go down here in a second as WWD is going to get another kill. Ice Blast flies in, but was close to flying over Bella, but didn't fly over or hit him. But WWD should be able to finish that off, and in fact, Archer's going to get it with the flare. WWD is going to get the kill on Jing instead. As start from the bottom, they start to run all over this game. But I go back to that point I was making about the draft, creating that space for WWD. You have to put pressure on this Naga Siren, which, if you're putting so much attention on stopping this Naga Siren from farming, that means you're not putting the pressure on the Shadow Fiend from farming. You know, you think way back. Shadow Fiend's come and gone in the meta so many times, and when he comes and he goes, he comes because you can create the situation in the mid game where he can farm, and he's really strong against the meta heroes. The heroes in the current meta, so that he's able to farm and kind of gets the ball rolling. And once he gets that snowball rolling, he's a very, very difficult hero to slow down or stop. But then we see him fall out of the meta when there's a lot of movement coming around from the supports and he's constantly getting ganked. But if you can create this situation with a hero like a Naga Siren, force the enemy team to kind of go aggro or really put a lot of pressure on that hero, then you create this open space for the Shadow Fiend. And nice setup here from Jing as he positioned himself back in here so that the Shadow Fiend would be between him and the Bristleback. But WWD, he's just too big. He lets the Requiem fly and Quilly has to run away. And oh my goodness, that damage. Jing's going to go down here with a hookshot from Archer. WWD is going to finish off Bella, and holy moly. I had to look again at the clockwork. This is 13.5 minutes in this game. This Shadow Fiend is huge. Oh, he's almost double anyone on the side of the business gaming. As he's actually really close to double. Just about 200 off from Bell. Oh my goodness. Unreal stuff coming up started from the bottom.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And you know, I almost feel bad for the players like Shinji and Squee. They haven't been playing bad, but it's like all the attention has been on the other three. JJ had that ridiculous game on Invoke, had another kill there on Z-Rock. Both games, Archer has been playing phenomenally. Now WWD on the Shadow Fiend stealing the show as well. As he's in a little bit of trouble in the bottom lane, but maybe not. We saw him turn around one of these earlier. Now he's going to turn around, get a kill onto Bella. Jing wants to engage and help, but low HP. Oh no, Jing steps up, wants to throw the stun, but not able to do so before the raise lands, and now Archer hook shots in, and Quilly's going to go down. Oh my. And that is essentially the game wrapped up right there. Not saying it's over, but I mean that just kind of summarizes everything that's happened so far. This Shadow Fiend's just too big, and the business game, and they know that they need to do something about it, but maybe action now, based on what we're seeing, is the wrong course of action. They are finally going to bring down WWD. It will cost Z-Rock his life, but they do bring him down. Look at that gold, as I'll bring it up again. Z-Rock gets the kill on the Shadow Fiend's monster kill streak for 1,303 gold. You think back to 6.83 and everyone was talking about that rubber band effect. The rubber band effect is kind of still there. It's just a lot more shifted to when there is a huge difference in net worth, like there is right now with the Shadow Fiend, you get a ton of gold for it. We're seeing an example of that right there. Z-Rock got a ton of gold for ending that streak. But still, he's still the highest on the business gaming, and he's still so far behind. The top three farmers, or the top three cores, are all on the side of started from the bottom. Well, the business gaming, they're already down one in this series. They're going to have to find a way to bring it back here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Now look at this. WWD picking up an S and Y. And some people would say that's a little bit of a questionable pickup, but look at how far ahead he is. And some people would also say he's so far ahead, it would be so easy for him to pick up a bigger ticket item at this point.
Radiant's top tower
But
is
he's
under
also
attack.
realizing that the business gaming need to stop him. They need to kill him. They need to slow him down. He's snowballing out of control. So what does he do? He gets an item that's great right now. It's not an item he has to invest in. It's going to give him his HP. It's going to give him a little bit more damage as well. And it allows him to fight. But we are going to see a pick off there as Dazzle's going to go down. And now the Cogs will trap too, but Archer's on the run and he's going to go down. So
Radiant's
start from the bottom,
tower is
looking
under attack.
maybe making a little bit of mistakes there as
Radiant's
it gets
bottom
punished
tower
by the
has
business gaming, but it does buy some space for WWD, who did drop this bottom tier 2 tower.
Dire's
But they are going to get a
structures are
mid tier 1 of
fortified.
their own. So it's not the worst trade in the world. You know what? If you can trade a hero
Dire's
kill
middle tower has
right now,
fallen.
when you're this far behind,
Radiant's top
it's
tower
definitely
is under
beneficial.
attack.
So if you can certainly get 2 kills, and it costs you a
Dire's
tier
middle
2, but you still
tower
get a
is
tier
under
1,
attack.
that's a huge advantage for the business gaming. But unfortunately, Like I said, that created space for WWD. In the
Dire's
bottom lane, he
structures
dropped
are
that tier 2
fortified.
tower.
Dire's middle tower
But it
is under
also
attack.
bought some space for JJ to finish his Radiance. And this Naga Radiance
Radiant's
is
bottom
pretty much
tower
going to be the
is
end
under
of any
attack.
pushing coming out from the business gaming. It's not completely over. We still need the boots of travel from the Naga Siren. But the Naga's going to be pushing and keeping 2 lanes pushed
Dire's middle tower
and
is
farming
under
ridiculously
attack.
fast. WWD is a huge issue in the other lane.
Radiant's
And that's just
bottom
2
tower
heroes.
is under attack.
That is just 2 heroes completely shutting down your entire team. Interesting position here from
Radiant's middle
WWD
tower
as he's
is
trying to
under
hide, but he is going to get caught out. Not sure why he didn't just TP away, but he's going to get caught out here. The Ice Blast is going to come in, and now he's going to try to fight. He pops the mech. He's going to get a right click off. Will he get another? It's not going to matter. The Clockwork's going to get the kill anyways with the flare. He's going to turn around. There comes Archer. And the hook shot.
Radiant's middle tower
And how-
has fallen.
How is
Radiant's top
WWD
tower
alive
is
right
under
now?
attack.
What the heck? How is he alive? It doesn't make any sense. This hero's is too
Radiant's
big.
middle tower is
It's
under
17 to
attack.
5 right now. We haven't looked at the gold graph, but as you guessed, very much in favor of starting from the bottom, over
Radiant's top
10k,
tower has
over
fallen.
12k when we look at the XP graph. But mid tier
Radiant's
2
middle
going down
tower
here
has
is now
fallen.
as well. The only outside tower still left is the top tier 2, which is probably going to fall pretty soon here to
Radiant's
JJ as
top
he's
tower
pushing in the
is under
Naga.
attack.
But nice wall vacuum here coming out from the business game. This is what they need to potentially turn us around. But they lose Quilly so early on, and they don't even bring down WWD. They don't even force out the shallow grave from Squee.
Players here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I don't know. I don't know what the business gaming can do now.
Radiant's
It's a
top
real
tower
uphill
has
battle. There
fallen.
goes that tier 2 JJ bringing it down. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we've got on the Radiant side. So Zeus has Shadow Blade. That's good for positioning. Ogre Club, BKB is going to be necessary, but it is quite a ways out. 750 gold on hand, so it's not that far. We do have the mech up on Z-Rock, but the Ice Blast kind of cancels that out. So that's not really that valuable. It's good, but not huge. Bella doesn't really have anything, but a good position Death Ward could be huge. Jing, his swap's going to be very, very important. Once he gets the Force Staff as well, that's going to be great because he can then
Roshan has
position
fallen
himself
to the dire.
better, swap someone, Force Staff himself back. And unfortunately right now with how big the Shadow Fiend is, it's probably going to have to be used so defensively, but I feel like it might even be better to use it offensively, because if you just try to play around what Starter from the Bottom's doing right now, I feel like you're still just going to get run over. The Shadow Fiend's too big. So I feel like you need to
With flair.
mess up what Starter from the Bottom's trying to do. You need to interrupt it some way, and a swap is great at doing so. So you swap a hero into that bad position, then you just focus it and bring it down. The problem is then you've got to deal with the Dazzle as well. If Dazzle's able to get the Shallow Grave off, then that entire scenario is gone. And on top of that, Archer's probably also going to hook shot in. So it's difficult. Speaking of that, he just hook shot. I think he hit the creep wave, but we're going to have that grave. It's going to get used on the Dazzle. This is a great way to start off the fight for the business gaming. I just don't think they've got enough to stay alive, as they're going to lose Z-Rock. Archer incredibly low, but he'll be okay. JJ is in there as well, and there comes the sleep. Will he die to the tower? He will. So the Naga Siren goes down. We've lost one hero on either side, but Jing's going to go down. Advantage going the way of Starter from the Bottom. Quilly, low HP, will try to back away. We've got a buyback from Jing as he's going to swap WWD into the middle of everything. Do we have Shallow Grave back up? We do. So they're not even going to be able to focus this Shadow Fiend. Bella's going to go down. Jing and Quilly are on the run, heading back to the fountain. Jing will turn around as Zeus comes in. Ice Blast coming in. Gonna fly into the fountain. It does hit Quilly. He may take out, but WWE able to finish off Jing there. Looks like he used 2 sets of raises, and Jing will call the GG. So Starter from the Bottom take this best of 3 in a pretty quick and dominating
Dire victory.
2 games. Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff from Starter from the Bottom. As they will advance into, well, the Winners Bracket Finals. So we won't see them next week. And we will see the business gaming as they're going to drop down into that Losers Bracket. I'll bring up our brackets here for just a second so we can take a quick look at it. As start from the bottom, they're going to drop down, or sorry, they're going to advance to that winners final. The Business Gaming, they'll drop down, and they'll be playing against ASDF, I believe. So we've got that to look forward to. So neither of these teams are eliminated just yet, but all the Business Gaming, they're going to be facing elimination next week. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the game so far. We do have another series coming up, but it's not until 9 p.m. EST, so I will be bringing the stream down. But well, obviously with the delay, I'll have to let it finish. But so it'll be back up probably, I'd say maybe about 10 minutes prior to 9. Probably actually 5 minutes with the delay and everything. But so you guys will be able to tune in there and hop in the stream, as we're going to have... well, our final match of the night is going to be Boreal Esports going up against UTD Savants. They're going to be the other winners bracket match. But until then, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you check out SaturdayDotaLeague.com to find out more about the tournament. And also, check out the in-game tickets. Completely free, so you can go in and watch these replays. And also, follow me. Hit those follow buttons on twitch.tv/NizCast. Also, check me out on Twitter at NizCast, and all the VODs of everything I cast also get uploaded to YouTube as well. So you can head on over to youtube.com/NizCast and check out all the games I've casted previously, especially all the games from the Saturday Dota League. These will be heading up on there later tonight, so you can check those out probably tomorrow with how long it takes me to upload stuff. But they will get up there, so you will be able to check those out. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you will be back at 9 p.m. Eastern to join us for our last best of 3. But thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you then.